Alright, this is Robin's car-free vacation, day 3. And if I look sweaty, it's just because I just hauled all of my gear down to the train station. No car. Actually, I was going to take a taxi. Called the taxi company. I was on hold for like 15 or 20 minutes, and no one was answering. Also Uber. Two taxi companies and Uber. No one was answering. So, I took the bus most of the way, and then I walked the last mile with all my stuff. I'm sweaty and tired, but here's my train. A lot of travel YouTubers who ride this train ride the Gold Star class, which is the expensive one where you get the free meals, and it's like an extra $100 for the meals. No, you know me, I don't do that. Okay, I'm on board. Tons of leg room. Nowhere near touching the seat. The windows are nice and big. The one complaint I have about these chairs is no tray table. They can even recline. I think there's a little push button. Oh yeah, you can see how far it is. You can't lean back super far, but it's far enough you can, take a nap and be decent. As the train departs, you travel first through a rail yard and then through the city of Fairbanks, through the outskirts of Fairbanks, and then you get out into boreal forest. And a lot of what you're going to see for the first, hour and a half, you've got the trees almost always right up next to the rail line. Sometimes there will be clearings because they've logged, but it's mostly just trees. But then you start following the river, and that's when it starts becoming more scenic. Eventually you get up into Healy Canyon, which is absolutely spectacular. So if you like riding trains and you like scenery, this might be a good trip for you to take. I will say that if you like riding trains and you want to go fast, this is a really bad rail line to ride. The distance from Fairbanks to Anchorage is, I think, 340 miles or something. And it takes 12 hours, right? So you're going on average like lower than 30 miles an hour. And as you look at some of the curves coming up in Healy Canyon, you'll understand exactly why you go so slow. There are a lot of really, really tight curves. And of course, it's a very steep grade. So spectacular scenery, not very fast. Because you don't get meals in adventure class, I also want to comment on what the food situation is. So there is a cafe car, which has not a huge selection of offerings. They have a bar, so you can get booze if you want. They have prepackaged sandwiches and salads. And of course they have a number of types of drinks and snacks. But the important thing you should know is there is a microwave in the cafe car. So if you bring your own food and you want to heat it up, I did actually get some popcorn on this leg of the trip. And then later on I got some chips. But for the most part, I was basically eating the food that I brought, and there was no trouble with that at all. Okay, I made it to Denali, and here's where my real trouble started. So I found a lot of information that said you can definitely take the train to Denali and you don't need a car, but there wasn't a lot of really clear information on exactly how you were supposed to get from the train station to where you want to go. So this is a bit of advice for people who are planning to come to Denali without a car. My first tip is just know that they don't bring your checked bags to you until after the train has left. So while you're waiting for the train to leave, which involves unloading all the baggage and loading up all the other baggage and people boarding and everything, use that opportunity to hit the restroom and do anything else that you need to do that you don't want to do with all your stuff. Because again, I had a lot of stuff. So we're going to entitle this section of the video, How Not to Get Lost If You're Taking the Camper Bus to Teklenika After Taking the Train. So, you get off the train. Here's the baggage claim. What you're going to do is come over this way. You can see it says Visitor Center. And you're going to walk up this way. And you're going to come up here. So you see where that bus is coming out. That is the bus depot over there. But there is a trail. So you're going to take this trail over here to the bus depot, and you're going to take the Riley Creek shuttle. It comes every half hour. You need to get on the Riley Creek shuttle and have them drop you off at the Mercantile. And at the Mercantile, you check in to the campground and you get your camper bus ticket. So importantly, there are 2 bus depots involved here. One by the visitor center and the train station, and then one right down the road from Riley Creek. So next thing is for me to walk down to Riley Creek bus depot. It's about half a mile from the Riley Creek Mercantile up to the Denali bus depot. If you're coming in by car, you can only go up to Savage River, and so if you want to go further into the park, you have to take a bus. So if you're coming in by car, you have to come to the bus depot here as well. You do have to get a reserve ticket. You can't just show up and get in line. If you are going in with a backpack and no car, you have to request a special ticket for the camper bus. The camper bus is special because it has room for gear, right? You saw how much gear I have, and amazingly, when I was at the Riley Creek Mercantile, I saw someone else that had both a back and a front pack, and I felt vindicated. I'm very glad. They originally asked if I wanted to take, I think, the 1:30 or 2 o'clock camper bus. I would not have made that. I would have just missed it if it were 2 o'clock. So I'm on the 4 o'clock bus, which means I will get into Teklenika River Campground at like 5:30. The one downside to taking the later bus is it's now raining. So I get to set up camp in the rain, which is probably my least favorite thing ever. That's okay. That's okay. I'm super excited. Also, bonus while I'm waiting, there's actually Wi-Fi here. There's Wi-Fi at the Riley Creek Mercantile, and there's Wi-Fi here at the bus depot. So I'm sending in last goodbyes to my parents and whatever before I go no contact for a few days. Going to Denali, you're going to spend a lot of time on buses, and the quality of your experience will depend on what bus driver you get. Bus drivers have very different personalities. Some of them tell you more about what's around you than others. So I definitely had a wide variety of experiences with bus drivers. This first driver on the camper bus going in from the bus depot was pretty middle of the pack. He gave a fair bit of information about the park, but maybe not quite as much science as I would have liked. I'm sure he's fine for most people. I just like people who go into gory science detail.
The glaciers are responsible for carving a lot of our valleys out in our landscape. The glaciers are also responsible for creating our ponds, or some of the ponds. Coming up here on the left side of the bus, we have a kettle pond. So as you can see, I did make it into Denali safely.
not without a little bit of incident in terms of like getting lost at the very entrance part of the park. What I'm not going to show you about this day 3 of my vacation is the setting up of camp thing. I spent 2 full days and 2 half days in Denali, and I'm going to have videos specifically about day 2 and also another video about what we did day 3. But what's coming up next week is just a summation of what it's like to hammock camp in Denali. Because I looked for that on YouTube and around the web when I was searching for whether or not this was possible. And I definitely have a lot to say. So come back next week for hammock camping in Denali. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. And I hope to see you again next week.